Oh, guys, we are under a tornado warning, Racine County. The siren just went off. Don't know where the tornado is, though. This might be.
That they are now saying could be impacted include Kenosha, Racine, Waukesha, New Berlin, Mount Pleasant, Muskego, Pleasant Prairie, Lake Geneva, Sturdivant, Union Grove.
There you go.
All the way down to Lake Geneva here in far southeastern and east central Walworth County as well. So this is really taking up the far southeastern portion of the state. This also includes southern Milwaukee County. So we've got Mequon where we were watching for a little bit of some rotation. Again, this is a situation that I think folks may just not be used to.
Where is the tornado?
The ingredients just were not there. And this is one of those situations where we've got two air masses coming into perfect contact with one another. And now we've got that
Oh wow, the rain is pouring really bad.
And Jetty's right here. He's about to be coming over. Can you stay right there? I gotta go talk to Dylan quick.
under a tornado warning here until we get to about 1 o'clock as this line makes its way through. Again, we're not necessarily seeing a situation where
Right. And it sounds like wind gusts could be a concern with this one as well. I report a 45-mile-per-hour wind gust, if not more than that. And something like that can do a lot of damage, whether it's structural damage, whether it's power outages, whether it's debris. You're talking about debris that could be, trees, especially with saturated ground. So all of that can cause some type of issue.
until this is able to pass on by. I'm going to go ahead and revisit the National Weather Service chat. We have at one time had probably half a dozen to a dozen little notches in the line. They are hard to pinpoint each and every one of them consistently. That is why I've been given the broad brush here. You're under the tornado warning. It's just good to follow the tornado safety procedures as we continue to monitor this line. The atmosphere, it acts like a fluid. The changes happen within minutes. So we just want folks to be aware that this is something we're watching very carefully. And if you are under the tornado warning, we do want you to observe those tornado safety procedures. We do have some important damage for whitewater. We're talking about that a little bit earlier. Maybe a little bit at least relate to the National Weather Service. I do have the chat room here. We are connected with the National Weather Service office in Sullivan. And it does look like we potentially could have some activity happening just to the east of Lake Geneva. So I want to go ahead and zoom in and see if we can actually identify that here on our radar, or at least the product that we have up here, where we've got the velocity. You can see there is a little bit of a notch here just east of Lake Geneva. Again, you got the brighter red colors. That is the wind moving away from the radar. Green moving towards it. So this is the southerly wind out ahead. And you got this little notch right here. So anyone along Highway 50 here, just east of Lake Geneva, we want you to be in that tornado safe spot. In and around Lake Geneva, we do have some rotation. Looking to see if we potentially have right there, Slate's Corners, got a little bit of a hint of a debris signature. Correlation coefficient has dropped a little bit. I would say the rotation is maybe just a little bit to the west here, kind of getting the overlay of the products. But anyone here, right along the Walworth County line, we want to be in that tornado safe spot. I want to send it back over to Tom during this new information, Tom.
Yeah, Brendan, as you're continuing to track right there, looking live outside right now at the clouds that are moving in. This is from our camera atop Marquette University building there, and this is looking towards the west. As you can see there, that large dark cloud coming to the area. Again, as Brendan has mentioned, we have several different counties. Most of our viewing area under a tornado warning right now. One of the places that seems some activity is Waukesha County. That's one of the best spots for New Brain this afternoon. What's up to you?
We've had probably about 3 or 4 alerts coming into our phones kind of non-stop here, and and now almost a hint of sun or a hint of a lighter color, and as we were sitting here in the basement too, we could definitely hear the wind kind of whipping around as it was going, and you could see the leaves were just, I don't want to say swirling because that's probably not the correct term, but the leaves were just whipping against the storm window.
All right, Rebecca Clough safely in her basement, reporting to us what she sees in New Berlin, one of the areas.
We've kind of moved through the worst of it, or if it's
Gee,
better,
how are you even gonna go out today now?
Well, it's supposed to be over by 1.
Strong storm activity here.
Okay.
All right, Rebecca Clough, thanks for that report in her safe space in the
Holy fuck.
basement there at her home in New Berlin, reporting to us that heavy rain just moved through, and as we're looking at this live picture from our MLK camera here, you can see the storm is moving in our direction here in Milwaukee. Several of our counties under a tornado warning right now. Chief Meteorologist Brian Wisnansky is now with us, tracking the storm right now. Brian, and as Rebecca kind of said, she feels like where she is in Waukesha County, that the storm, at least the severe part of it, is past her.
Yeah, I would that as well. And I don't know exactly in Waukesha County, but as we look at this, it's definitely southern Waukesha County now, through western Racine County and over towards Lake Geneva.
geez, I
We're
hope
seeing the
Luca's
strongest
okay.
winds, and we're just on radar.
Oh.
We're seeing these notches on the radar. I've been listening to Brendan as I came into work. He's doing an excellent job tracking this. This is a very unique scenario. This isn't like your typical summertime severe weather situation. These are barely even thunderstorms. It's just that collision of air. It's a highly sheared environment, very unique setup. So what I want to do here is, first off, if you are currently under a tornado warning, you need to be in your basement, because this is very tricky to predict along this line where it will drop its next tornado. But what I am going to do is we're going to zoom in on each one of these little couplets that I'm seeing, and those are the places that we 110% need to be in our basement. So let's get started with that. I'm going to start with our southern spots, because this is where I think it is most pressing as of right now. You see that little notch that is to the east of Lake Geneva, right around Powers Lake, Twin Lakes. If you're in the Twin Lakes area, you really need to be in your basement. It's this where it kind of sticks out here, right here. Now, again, if you're very savvy with radar, you're thinking that doesn't look like much like a tornado, but this is a unique situation. Again, these are QLCS tornadoes. If they are forming along this line, again, a setup where a lot of these are rain wrapped. They probably don't show up very well on radar, except for these little notches. So again, southern end of thing, Powers Lake, eventually over to Twin Lakes, that's where you need to be 100% in your basement. Put it this way, western Kenosha County, western Racine County, you need to be taking cover. Let's go a little bit farther north. I'm seeing another one of these little notches now to the southeast of Burlington. So heads up, eventually again, Brighton, Wheatland area, eventually south of Kansasville. We're talking south of Highway 11 here in Racine County and Kenosha County. That's where I'm seeing potentially our next tornado that could be maybe already on the ground. So again, this is again tracking to the east here pretty quickly, around 30 to 40 miles per hour. So locations all in western Racine County and Kenosha County need to be in your basement. Now again, as we look a little farther north, we're going to look and try to point out that one right here, also to the northeast of Wind Lake. You see how you kind of get this gray and red situation? situation here. That, again, is another area right along Loomis Road, 36 here, that we have to be aware that this could be spinning up another tornado. Now, with this setup, now, I don't want you to take it lightly, but with this setup, typically you have brief tornadoes, you have lower-end tornadoes. This reminds me of a couple of years ago in northern county, that was Fond du Lac, Dodge County, where we had over 20 tornadoes that touched down along a line of thunderstorms. Let's go a little bit farther north here. Again, we'll try to find any of these notches. Now we're starting to get into metro Milwaukee here. This one right here, south side, I really don't like either. Potentially around West Milwaukee, West Dallas. You see, again, just this little gray, little pink, that indicates rotation right here. Again, it's not much on radar. Quite frankly, I was watching Brendan's coverage, and earlier through Waukesha County and Jefferson County, these storms showed a little more oomph on the radar. Let's zoom out a little bit more, because I know also you folks in northern Milwaukee County, again, this really doesn't look like much on radar. Now, to go along with the potential little spin-up tornadoes, we also have to talk about, this is some pretty strong straight-line winds, too, potentially over 60 miles per hour. So, again, we're going to continue to track these tornado warnings. Right now, active warnings for much of southeastern Wisconsin. Before we toss back to Tom here, I want to take a quick look at the most current warnings across the area, and now we're talking all in Milwaukee County and a good chunk of Racine and Kenosha County. So again, you can see the city of Racine, city of Kenosha, now under this tornado warning. City of Milwaukee, you are under a tornado warning. Folks, if you live in the city of Milwaukee and you're watching right now, please head to your basement, turn your TV up, watch it on your phone, watch it on your tablet, head to the basement. Same story for Racine and Kenosha. You have a little bit of time before these storms reach you in the city of Racine and Kenosha, but these are moving pretty quickly, so get in your safe space now. Again, tornado warning still in effect for Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha, a highly populated area here in southeastern Wisconsin. Tom, you got an update for me?
Yeah, Brian, thanks so much. We're going to go outside right now to our Elaine Rojas Castillo. She's at 27th and Layton, where the storm is approaching, or has started to come through, to tell us what it looks like in her area. Elaine?
Yeah, Tom, I mean, within seconds, things completely changed. We were obviously covering that crash that happened on 27 when we got the alert and we heard the siren, so we headed to the closest shelter that we could. We're right now at a rehabilitation center on 27th and Layton, but you can see behind the arrow, if you want to take a look, things have completely changed in the last, not even kidding, 3 minutes. It went from calm, tranquil, to blowing, rain going sideways like Rebecca mentioned. The breeze is incredibly strong. We've even seen some clouds that are taking shape. It's completely different. So as Brian said, if you're in Milwaukee County, just like we are, as soon as I finish talking to you, Tom, we're going right back inside. But it is a completely different story than it was not even 5 minutes ago, Tom.
All right, Elaine Rojas Castillo, we're going to let you get inside to where it's safer outside of any possible debris there where you're standing, because she's exposed to the elements a bit there. But Brian, this is what many people are reporting. I've had some texts from friends saying the lights are flickering when they're in their basement in Greenfield, and then other folks on the east side of Milwaukee saying they can see the storm approaching.
Yeah, and that same Greenfield area I want to talk about in a second. If we can switch back over to Max 2 behind me here in the chroma key, I want to show you guys something. Now, Brendan showed you this radar product. CC product, correlation coefficient. This is where the radar could potentially pick up some debris. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% certainty here, but one thing I'm not liking here, as we take a look at the radar, crossing right over 94, 41 here, we're talking south side Milwaukee, northeast corner of Franklin. You see where it goes from the purples to the yellows? Potential here that we have some debris in the air, and that would be, of course, an indication of a tornado. So please, downstream of this, be in your safe spot. If you do not have a basement, make sure it's that innermost room, a closet, a bathroom, any walls that you can get in between you. That's where you want to be. Really concerned about this little bit of debris signature showing up here now in southern Milwaukee County. Brendan, you saw this earlier with some of these storms as well, and it was a good indication that we had something going to confirm things. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. You know, we've been watching this line very consistently, and one of the things that the National Weather Service has brought up, and I thought it was particularly interesting, is that when we have these tornado debris signatures, it's the middle of fall. A lot of leaves may be flowing within these shower cells. At the same time, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 reported tornadoes so far.
Holy
across
shit.
southeastern Wisconsin. These are the reports that have been filtered by the National Weather Service. We have had reports that these funnels that have come down and made contact with the ground have been strong enough to break branches off of trees, to break whole limbs, and cause damage where these tornadoes have been reported. So one over by Whitewater, just to the south and west there at Waterford, north side of Waukesha, just to the east of Oconomowoc. And we did have a warning earlier for southern Ozaukee County, just to the south there of Mequon, where we've had enough rotation that a funnel is lower to the ground. It's been able to cause some damage, and that's why all these areas that you see here highlighted in red, we want you to take the situation seriously. Brian?
Yeah, Brendan, I want to go back to that CC product, that tornado debris signature potential here. Now, I've definitely seen worse, but certainly this is something that has caught my eye here. Southern Milwaukee County, working through Cudahy down into South Milwaukee. It does look a little bit less, which is obviously great news, but you see that movement there? All right, so you don't... Doesn't take much, but okay. So you see crossing right over
that orange spot,
that more of an orange shade, heading towards South Milwaukee, Cudahy, right along the lakeshore. Please be in your basement. If there is a tornado on the ground, this is an indication of it. It's picking up some debris here potentially on the radar. So please stay up with that. If anybody gets any reports of potentially a tornado on the ground in Milwaukee County, please relay that to me if we have anything there. Also picking up, maybe, let me see, I'm going to put this in motion. Yeah, that seems to be doing okay. By the airport? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that Steve Shammer is again pointing out that's right around Mitchell Field. Again, Milwaukee Mitchell. So that's right by the airport there. Potentially, again, with that debris that's moving right through there, right by the airport. Yep, that's center squared right over the airport, moving into South Milwaukee and Oak Creek. I'm going to switch over to velocity data. I'm going to see if there's anything on velocity that correlates with potentially that debris signature. Here's the good news. As of right now, I don't see really much at all. I'm going to put this in a loop. We'll put it in a loop. We'll see if I'm picking anything up here. And let's see, last 15 minutes, we'll loop it. Not much. I mean, really not much at all. So that's really a good sign. If I was seeing a pilot there on radar, then I'd be a little bit more concerned. But with that said, South Milwaukee, Cudahy, St. Francis, please, Southern Milwaukee, be in your basement. Let's switch back over to the active warnings as of right now. We'll go through them. Again, looks like an update from the Weather Service here. We're talking southeast corner now of Milwaukee County. That's who needs to be in your tornado safe place. In the basement, the area we've been focusing on, locations northwest of downtown, you still have a severe thunderstorm warning, but you are now in the clear as far as tornadoes go. From northwest of downtown, you again are clear of the tornado potential, but you still have a severe thunderstorm warning, so definitely don't head outside, don't go look around, stay in your shelter, that's for sure. Let's go a little bit farther south, and that's where again we have a tornado warning for Racine County, Kenosha County. Looks like we got an update there as well. Racine County, basically we're talking Union Grove and to the east. That's where right now we have the threat for still these little spin-up tornadoes. And then Kenosha County, majority of the county. Basically, if you're in Kenosha County, please still be in your basement. I want to switch back over to the velocity product into Kenosha County because this is where we are still seeing those notches. In fact, I'm going to go back to Milwaukee County because I still am I'm curious to see if we're going to pick anything up here as far as velocity. Yeah, you know, I'm just not seeing anything here on radar that indicates something tornadic as far as the wind goes. So hopefully that's good news. But still have that little bit of a debris signature. So interested if we're going to get some reports there. Farther south, I'm seeing a little more notches here. So let's pause this. And again, we're going to go into southern Racine County, well actually a good portion of central Racine County, and into far northern Kenosha counties. Each one of these little areas, we got a dark, 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 and then the pink next to it. That's where we have these little notches. And again, this is totally different than tracking supercells in the middle of the summertime. This is right along the line of showers. I mean, I've yet to see a lightning strike. I don't think Brendan saw one either. This is a very unique situation where we just have a clash of air masses. You got highly sheared environment, strong south flow ahead of the line, strong northwest flow behind it. It lines up just right for this QLCS potential here. So again, right here from Franksville, this is actually, yeah, I would say just crossing over, you know, where Highway K, where Franksville is on 41. That's where the pilot station is there. That's where we're watching closely, heading into Franksville. Same story, a little bit farther south, Highway 20, obviously a very busy interchange here. Please, folks, if you're watching there, Highway 20, any of those gas stations, at the very least, be away from the windows. if not in a safe place there at the gas station. Same story farther south along Highway 11 as well. We got an update from Tom. How's it going, Tom?
All right, thanks so much. We're going to go outside and see what the conditions are like with our Julia Fellow, or at least look through her camera lens here. This is out on the front lawn of TMJ4. Julia, can you hear me? What is it like out there?
Yes, Tom, I can hear you. Boy, it just switched like a light switch in just a matter of 20 minutes from the last time we had seen you. The storm came through so fast, especially the winds and the rain, and now it seems to be taming down like Brian is saying, but we just heard another round of loud emergency sirens, and it just ended. And again, it means that something life-threatening is happening and you should go indoors, and it is not just a test. So it's something that we should all still be aware of. And
Didn't they just test their siren today?
Taming down right outside our studios here, and we're staying safe, Tom.
Yeah, Julia Fellow there outside on Capitol Drive, and we've talked to our reporters in different parts of the area, from Bruce Harrison, who's in Waukesha, where the Brooks trial was going on, and they sent everybody into the tornado safe spaces within the Waukesha County Courthouse because of the tornado warning there. We talked with our Elaine Rojas Castillo near 27 and Layton, where the winds and rain were picking up, and now Julia Fellow here in Capitol Drive at TMJ4. And so, Brian, this continues to move to the east, and hopefully these warnings will expire or be not as much of a threat here pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to let their guard down if you're under a tornado warning, but I will say, in general, this line of showers, no thunder or lightning with it, is starting to look a little less impressive as what it looked like back in Waukesha County and Jefferson County when we had some confirmed tornadoes that were on the ground. But again, this is a very dicey situation where you have this line of showers here, very favorable sheared environment that could be producing these little spin-up tornadoes that can do damage. Reminds me of, remember a couple summers ago, northern counties, we had over 20 reported tornadoes on the ground, extensive widespread damage. Steve Shamrers just gave me an update from Milwaukee Mitchell, from the tower. No indication of a tornado in that area, and that is where we were seeing that debris signature in the clouds. Maybe it was picking it up high in the clouds, or maybe it was something else. I mean, sometimes when CC picks up, flock of seagulls, so let's hope that's the case. Bad news for the seagulls, but again, that is hopefully what we were seeing across southern Milwaukee County. Now, with that said, tornado warning still in effect. Southern Milwaukee County, Racine County, Kenosha County, all under that tornado warning. Now, I'm going to switch over to meteorologist Brendan.